Discipline beats motivation. That's the truth most people don't want to hear. Motivation feels good. It's emotional. It's hype. It's loud. But discipline is quiet. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. Discipline shows up whether it's raining, whether you're tired, whether you're sad, or whether no one's watching. Motivation might get you started, but discipline keeps you going when the excitement fades. The reason so many people fail is because they rely on how they feel. They wait to feel inspired. They wait for the right mood, the right moment, the right energy. But life doesn't work like that. Success doesn't wait for your feelings to catch up. Success belongs to the one who shows up every single day, whether they feel like it or not. You've got to understand something. Your body will get tired. Your mind will get tired. And your emotions will lie to you. They'll tell you it's too hard, it's too hard, it's too much. You can rest today. But every time you listen to those voices, you train yourself to quit. Discipline means doing what needs to be done, even when every part of you wants to stop. It's about training your mind to lead, not follow. When you wake up in the morning and you don't want to study, discipline says, do it anyway. When you're sitting at your desk and the book looks boring, discipline says, keep reading. When your friends are out having fun and you're stuck with your notes, discipline says, this is the price of greatness. People who depend on motivation are inconsistent. One day they're fired up, the next day they disappear. That's why their results are all over the place. They're up and down because their actions depend on emotion, not commitment. The person who wins is the one who shows up every day with or without the feeling. Discipline builds consistency, and consistency builds results. You can't achieve mastery doing something only when it feels good. You've got to grind when it's uncomfortable, when it's inconvenient, when no one else is doing it. Because that's what separates the average from the elite. Discipline is built in the small choices. It's not just about the big moments. It's in the moment when you decide to set your alarm early instead of hitting snooze. It's in the decision to read one more chapter when your brain says stop. It's in choosing to take notes instead of scrolling on your phone. Every small disciplined action builds momentum. Over time, those small choices turn into habits, and those habits turn into your identity. One day you wake up and realize you become the kind of person who doesn't need to be pushed anymore. You push yourself. That's when you know discipline has taken over. Most people never reach their potential because they keep waiting for motivation to show up. They want to feel inspired before they act. But winners act first and the feeling comes later. You don't wait to feel ready. You do it because it's what needs to be done. Every time you act with discipline, you strengthen your self-control. You prove to yourself that you can be trusted to do hard things. That confidence is powerful. When you start keeping promises to yourself, your whole mindset changes. You stop being a victim of your feelings and start being the master of them. Discipline isn't glamorous. It's not about hype videos, motivational quotes, or speeches. It's about late nights, early mornings, and doing the same thing over and over until you get it right. It's boring sometimes. It's repetitive, but that's what builds mastery. The best athletes, the best students, the best performers, they don't rely on excitement. They rely on systems, routines, and structure. They've trained themselves to operate on discipline, not desire. When the excitement fades, their discipline keeps them moving. That's how they separate from the pack. If you want to change your life, stop chasing motivation and start practicing discipline. Set a goal and commit to it like your life depends on it. Don't go negotiate with yourself. When you say you're going to do something, follow through. Because every time you keep your word, you grow stronger. Every time you quit, you weaken that muscle. Discipline is like a muscle. You got to train it daily. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. The less you use it, the weaker it becomes. So push through the discomfort. Learn to sit with the pain. Understand that growth only comes through consistent effort. There will be days when you feel like giving up. You'll question if it's worth it. You'll wonder if anyone even notices your effort. But trust me, the work you do in silence will speak loud later. The late nights, the study sessions, the sacrifices, they're all building a version of you that doesn't settle for average. Motivation will get you through 1 or 2 days. Discipline will get you through years. When you look at people who've succeeded at the highest level, they weren't always motivated. They were disciplined. Study like your future depends on it, because it really does. Every page you read, every hour you spend learning, every test you prepare for is not just about passing a class or getting a grade. It's about building a foundation for your life. The effort you put into your studies right now determines how far you'll go later. You can't play with your education and expect to win in life. Every moment you waste is a piece of your future slipping away. You can talk all you want about your dreams, about success, about how you want to be different. But if you're not studying like your life depends on it, then you're not serious. You can't say you want greatness and still give average effort. You've got to understand education is power. Knowledge changes everything. When you learn, you grow. You start to see the world differently, you gain confidence. You become dangerous in the best way because you know things others don't. You got tools that others never took the time to build. That's why studying is not punishment. It's preparation. It's how you build the skill set that will open doors later. Every hour you invest in learning something new is like putting money in a savings account for your future. One day, when others are scrambling for opportunity, you'll be ready because you paid the price in advance. Too many people take their education for granted. They think school is boring, that it's not important, that they'll figure things out later. But later never comes for those who waste now. The habits you build while studying, discipline, focus, persistence, those same habits will carry you through life. If you're lazy in school, you'll be lazy in life. If you can't commit to your books, you won't commit to your goals. How you do one thing is how you do everything. When you study like your future depends on it, you're not just learning facts, you're training your mind to be sharp, consistent, and unstoppable. Every successful person you admire spent years preparing. They study, they read, they practice, they learn. You might see their success now, but you didn't see the nights they stayed up while everyone else slept. You didn't see the mornings they woke up early to study. Success is built in silence, in the hours when no one is watching. If you want to stand out later, you got to outwork everyone now. Don't study just to pass an exam. Study to understand, to master, to grow. The deeper your knowledge, the stronger your foundation. And when the time comes to compete, you win because you were prepared. When you sit down to study, treat it like it's your job, take it seriously. Put your phone away. Eliminate distractions. You got to train your brain to focus. Every time you let yourself get distracted, you're telling your mind it's okay to lose focus. But when you push through the boredom, when you force yourself to concentrate, even when it's hard, you're building mental toughness. That's what separates those who make it from those who don't. You can't control everything in life, but you can control how much effort you give to your education. The harder you study, the more prepared you are to face whatever comes next. Sometimes it's not even about the subject you're studying. It's about developing a mindset of learning. Life doesn't stop teaching when school ends. You'll always have to learn new skills, new systems, new strategies. The people who keep growing are the ones who never stop studying. They keep reading, researching, improving. The world is constantly changing, and if you stop learning, you get left behind. So when you study hard now, you're not just preparing for exams, you're building a lifelong habit that will keep you ahead. You might not see the results right away, but trust the process. The effort you put in today might not pay off tomorrow, but it will pay off. You're building something that can't be taken from you. People can take your money, your job, your possessions, but they can never take your knowledge. Once you've learned something, it's yours forever. That's why you gotta treat every study session like it's an investment in your freedom. Education gives you options. It allows you to make choices. Without it, you're limited. With it, the world opens up. There will be times when you feel tired, when the work feels too heavy. But remind yourself why you started. You're not studying for the teacher. You're not doing it for your parents. You're doing it for the person you're becoming. Every time you choose to learn instead of quit, you're building that future version of yourself. That version of you will thank you later. You've got to think long term. The sacrifices you make now, the late nights, the early morning, the missed parties will all be worth it when you see how far you've come. Don't let comfort steal your destiny. It's easy to relax, to scroll, to waste time. But every minute you waste puts you further behind. Average is crowded, greatness is lonely. That's the truth nobody likes to admit. Everyone says they want to be great. Everyone says they want success. But the moment the process gets uncomfortable, most people quit. That's why there are so many average people and so few great ones. Average is easy.
Average is easy.
Average means doing what everyone else is doing, following the crowd, blending in, and never standing out. But greatness, that's a whole different level. Greatness requires separation. It demands sacrifice. It's lonely because not many people are willing to pay the price that greatness asks for. When you choose to rise above average, you have to understand that you won't have a crowd cheering you on. You'll walk alone for a while, and that's okay. The truth is, people get comfortable being average. It feels safe. You don't get judged as much, you don't risk failing, and you don't have to push yourself beyond your limits. But comfort is the enemy of growth. When you stay comfortable, you stay stuck. Average doesn't challenge you, it doesn't stretch you, it doesn't demand your best. It just keeps you in a loop of mediocrity, doing the same things, getting the same results, and wondering why nothing ever changes. Greatness only comes when you decide that comfort isn't enough. You've got to want more than easy. You've got to be willing to be uncomfortable, to be misunderstood, to be different. When you start chasing greatness, people will notice. Some will support you, but many won't understand. They'll call you obsessed. They'll say you're doing too much. They'll tell you to relax. But those same people will clap for you when you make it. Don't take it personally when people don't see your vision. It's not theirs to see. Greatness is personal. It's between you and your purpose. The journey is lonely because it's designed that way. It forces you to depend on yourself, to trust your own drive, to build your own strength. You can't become great surrounded by distractions or people who don't want more for themselves. Sometimes you've got to walk alone to see how strong you really are. You've got to make peace with the fact that not everyone is going to understand your grind. While others are sleeping, you'll be up working. While others are out wasting time, you'll be locked in, focused. Not because you think you're better, it's because you want better. There's a difference. The people who stay average think life owes them something. The people chasing greatness understand that nothing is given, it's earned. Every extra hour you put in, every bit of effort you add, every sacrifice you make is what separates you from the average. You've got to fall in love with the process because that's where greatness is born. The lonely part of greatness is what makes most people quit. They want the rewards, but they don't want the isolation. They want success, but they don't want to be uncomfortable. But that isolation is where you grow while, that silence is where you start to hear your true voice. You begin to understand what drives you, what motivates you, what you're capable of. When it's just you and your goals, no distraction, no noise, you learn you really are. That's when the transformation happens. The pain, the grind, the lonely nights, they all shape you into someone stronger, sharper, more focused. You can't develop that kind of character and comfort. You've got to look around and ask yourself, do I want to fit in or do I want to stand out? Because you can't do both. Average is for those who want to fit in. Greatness is for those who want to break the mold. If you want to stand out, you have to be willing to do what the crowd won't. You have to say no when others say yes. You have to keep working when others stop. It's not easy, but nothing great ever is. The crowd will always try to pull you back because your determination reminds them of what they're not doing. Don't let their opinions stop you. Keep moving forward, even when it feels like no one believes in you. The truth is, the path to greatness is supposed to be narrow. It's supposed to be difficult. That's why only a few make it. If everyone could do it, it wouldn't be called greatness. So when you start to feel lonely, when you feel like no one gets you, remind yourself you're on the right path. The grind is supposed to separate you. The process is supposed to break you down before it builds you up. The struggle is what makes the victory meaningful. Every champion has gone through seasons of loneliness, doubt, and pain. They didn't quit when it got hard. They pushed harder. You've got to be comfortable with being different. You've got to train yourself to love the work no one else wants to do. Greatness doesn't come to those who seek validation. It comes to those who stay consistent even when no one's watching. When you commit to greatness, you stop needing approval. You stop comparing yourself to others. You stop caring about how long it takes. Pain is temporary. Progress is permanent. That's something most people never truly understand because they get so caught up in the pain that they forget why they started. Pain makes people quit, but the ones who succeed are the ones who understand that pain is part of the process. Nothing worth having ever comes easy. When you chase your dreams, when you work hard towards something that matters, there will always be moments when you feel like it's too much. Your body will hurt, your mind will doubt, and your emotions will scream for you to stop. But if you can push through that moment, if you can hold on just a little longer, you'll realize the pain doesn't last forever. But what you build from it does. Every successful person you see today has gone through pain. They failed, they've fallen, they've been rejected, they've been laughed at. The difference between them and everyone else isn't talent, it's endurance. They kept going, others gave up. Saw pain as a sign that they were growing, not a signal to stop. You gotta start thinking like that. When you feel pain, whether it's the mental struggle of studying for hours, the physical exhaustion from working late, or the emotional weight of failure, you gotta tell yourself this: temporary. It won't last forever. But if you quit, if you stop, if you give up, that regret will last much longer than the pain ever would. Pain is a teacher. It teaches you about yourself. It shows you your limits and then challenges you to go beyond them. Most people run from pain, but the truth is, you can't grow without it. Just like muscles need resistance to get stronger, your mind and spirit need struggle to evolve. Every time you face something difficult and you keep pushing, you're building resilience. You're proving to yourself that you can handle more than you thought you could. And once you realize that, you become unstoppable. Because now pain doesn't scare you, it motivates you. You start to welcome it because you know what comes next. Progress. Progress isn't always visible at first. Sometimes you'll work for weeks, months, even years without seeing the results you want. That's when most people give up. But progress is like the roots of a tree. It happens underground first. You might not see it, but growth is happening. Every study session, every early morning, every failure you recover from, it's all adding up. You just got to keep going long enough for it to show. Pain is temporary, but quitting makes it permanent. If you stop, you never find out how close you were to success. That's why you've got to keep pushing even when it hurts. There's something powerful about pushing through pain. When you survive a tough moment, you come out stronger. You build confidence. You start to believe in yourself in a way that no one can take away. That's why pain is necessary. It's the proof that you're putting in the work. People who try to avoid discomfort end up living small, safe, and average lives. They never push themselves far enough to find out what they're capable of. But when you embrace the pain, when you face it head on, you start unlocking parts of yourself you never knew existed. That's how greatness is born. Through struggle, through sweat, through tears. You've got to remind yourself that pain doesn't mean you're losing. It means you're learning. Every mistake, every setback, every challenge is preparing you for something greater. Sometimes life will hit you hard, harder than you expected. But instead of asking, oh, why me? You've got to start asking, what is this teaching me? Because there's always a lesson in the pain. Maybe it's teaching you patience. Maybe it's teaching you strength. Maybe it's teaching you focus. But it's always doing something. Pain refines you. It sharpens you. It makes you more disciplined, more grateful, more aware of how bad you want it. When you're going through something hard, it's easy to feel like it'll never end. But think about all the times in the past when you thought you couldn't handle something, and you did. You made it through. You're still here. That's proof that pain passes. You've survived every bad day you've ever had, and you'll survive this one too. But every time you survive, don't just move on. Learn from it. Let it make you stronger. Let it fuel your growth. Because one day, all that pain will become your story. It'll become the reason someone else doesn't quit. The most powerful people are the ones who've learned how to turn pain into power. They don't let it break them. They let it build them. They understand that the struggle is shaping their character. It's molding them into the kind of person who can handle success. Because success isn't for the weak. It's for those who have been through the fire and didn't give up. Every scar, every sleepless night, every tear is part of the price you pay for greatness. Success demands sacrifice. There's no shortcut, no easy way around it, no hack that replaces the grind. If you want something extraordinary, you have to give up something ordinary. That's the price of greatness. Everyone wants to succeed. Everyone wants to live their dream, but not everyone is willing to sacrifice for it. They want the rewards, but they don't want the process. They want to shine in public, but they don't want to work in private. The truth is, success will cost you your comfort, your time, your energy, and sometimes even your relationships. But if you're serious about your goals, you've got to be willing to pay that price. When you look at successful people, what you're really seeing are the results of years of sacrifice that no one else saw. They sacrificed sleep, comfort, parties, distractions, and excuses. They chose discipline over pleasure. They worked when others rested. They studied while others scrolled. They built while others talked. That's what it takes. You can't be average and expect to live like someone who gave up average. Every decision you make either takes you closer to your goal or further away from it. Sacrifice is what separates the dreamers from the doers. It's what transforms potential into performance. Sacrifice doesn't always feel good. In fact, it usually hurts. It means saying no to things that bring you short-term happiness for things that bring you long-term success. It means waking up early when your body wants to sleep. It means studying when your mind wants to rest. It means putting your goals first when your friends are out having fun. But that's how winners are made. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you're telling the universe that you're serious. You're proving that you want success more than you want comfort. There will be times when people won't understand you. They'll say you've changed, that you're too focused, too intense. But that's what it takes. You can't do what everyone else does and expect to get what they don't have. You've got to move differently. You got to think differently. You got to be okay with being misunderstood. Success is a lonely road because not everyone is built for the grind. Some people will quit the moment it gets hard, but the ones who stay, the ones who keep pushing through, those are the ones who rise to the top. Every sacrifice you make today is an investment in your tomorrow. When you choose to study instead of sleep, you're investing in your future freedom. When you choose to work instead of waste time, you're building the foundation for something greater. You've got to think long term. Most people lose because they think short term, they chase comfort now and wonder why they're struggling later. But the great ones delay gratification. They understand that the pain of sacrifice is temporary, but the reward lasts forever. When you learn to delay comfort, you gain control over your life. Sometimes sacrifice means letting go of the people and habits that hold you back. You can't hang around negative, lazy, or unmotivated people and expect to stay focused. Your environment shapes you. If you surround yourself with distractions, you'll stay distracted. If you surround yourself with people who push you, you'll keep growing. Part of sacrifice is choosing your circle wisely. You've got to be around people who challenge you to be better, not people who keep you average. That's not easy. It hurts to distance yourself, but if you want to reach your potential, you've got to do it. Sacrifice also means trusting the process even when you can't see results. There will be days when you work hard and feel like nothing is changing. You'll question whether it's worth it. You'll feel like giving up. But that's the test. Every great success story has a season of silence where no one notices the work being done. But those who stay consistent through that silence eventually see results that speak louder than words. You've got to keep going even when the progress is invisible. Because one day all those sacrifices will make sense. It's easy to talk about dreams, but it's hard to do what dreams demand. Success doesn't care how much you want it. It only responds to how much you're willing to give up for it. You've got to be willing to miss sleep, skip comfort, and outwork your competition. You've got to train your mind to see sacrifice not as loss, but as preparation. Every time you give something up for your goal, you're clearing space for something greater. You're making room for growth, opportunity, and progress. People will look at your success later and call you lucky. They won't see the sacrifices, the late nights, the early morning, the times you said no when everyone else said yeah. But you'll know the truth. You earned it. Every victory was built on a mountain of sacrifice. Every achievement came from the willingness to suffer now for peace later. Success demands it. It's the law of progress.